Hello, Beez Bladers! Welcome back, and welcome newcomers to the channel. I'm going to do a full review of the Petrified fish Beluga. I've had a few folks asking about it. I think it's become arisen again here with the new release of the different styles and the new micartas and the different blade colors. So I'm going to go ahead and run through this. I've had this knife for about 6, 7, 8 weeks, somewhere in there, 2 or 3 months at least. And I think I've got a pretty good idea to let you guys know how I feel about it, and we'll get inside and see what it looks like. Thank you, subscribers, patrons. Thank you, channel members. You guys are making this thing rock. I love it. Love you guys. I'm having so much fun, and I'm going to tell you all about the Petrified fish Beluga. Are you ready? Are you set? All right, let's run through it. So it has a nice G10 handle. It's heavy duty. And these are like all those different options are running for right now at the time of this posting around 46, 47 bucks. I checked on White Mountain Knives. I think they were sold out of them, but I have a 10% off discount codes to like 4 different places. Go check them out in the description. White Mountain Knives, Mojave Outdoors, KPL Knife Pivot Lube, Lancelot Leather. Go check out all the cool stuff in the description. But I'm going to give you a rundown. So the sandblast finish has really held up very well. And it has a really nice fuller, and the fuller, nail nick, whatever you want to call it, it's sharp in here, but it's a good sharp. It grabs a hold of your skin like you want it to. It's not like oh, that's a hot spot. It's a good thing. And there's it's a Nashorn design, and there's the symbol for that. There's Petrified fish for your pivot. And it has really nice looking G10. It looks like a lot of texture, right? There's a little bit of texture vision for you. It's just looks. It's kind of smooth. It has a little bit, I mean, enough to help, give you some traction, a little bit of grippage. But I wouldn't say, it's not like micarta or anything like that. Just enough where I can say it's not slick. It's not smooth. But it has nice designs, nice and clean looking. You have a tip up right side and left side carry, which is very nice, very, very nice. And it's deep carry. Look at that. No screws. You don't have any mushrooms going in the shade there. And to switch your pocket clip, you do have to take the scale off to swip it good. All right, slow down. And you have a nice spot here for a lanyard. I love it when they don't put a hole through the scales and you can put a lanyard back here. That's very nice, very, very nice. And looking through this side, the only billboarding you have there is the model number PFP01. It has Bowler K110 steel, which is done very nice for me. It's very slicey, nice, tall, flat grind. I haven't had really instances of stuff getting caught in here. I guess fruit, if you're cutting through some fruit, you might get a little bit caught in there, but it is easy to wipe and clean off. Really nice, strong blade, nice tip. It's pretty neat looking from the top. We'll go over all this. The jimping right here is very nice, very nice. All right, so the one thing I do want to point out before I forget, because you guys, if you follow me and you're on the lives, micarta, squirrel, I'll forget, is this dude can be a little sharp on the opening. We'll go over that on deployment. So what I'm going to do real quick is run through the specs in less than 60 seconds for you. Are you ready? Are you set? All right, this sucker weighs 5.5 ounces. The total length from tip to tip is 8.31 inches. You have a nice drop point blade with Bowler K110 steel, bead blast finish. Your total blade length is 3.63 inches. Your sharpened blade length is 3.45. Your blade width is 1.31 inches. Your blade stock thickness is kind of hefty at 148 thousandths. Now, the thickness behind the edge kind of trailed. It went from 10,000 and kind of slowly went up to 16,000. So it was 10 thousandths and 14 and then 16 thousandths. So, but as tall as it is, it has great blade geometry. So no issues there. Your closed length from tip to tip or front to butt is 4.63 inches. Your handle width, 1.19 inches. And your closed width is 1.44 inches. Your handle thickness is 0.58 inches. It has some girth to it. And it's a front flipper and a fuller for opening. It's a liner lock. And it's deep carry, left carry. This thing has held an edge very, very well. It's super slicey, very sharp. There you go. Look at that. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Overall, I think the fit and finish is really done really well. It is super solid. And man, you talk about feeling like a tool and not a toy. This sucker feels like a tool for real. Now, I'll do a couple of size comparisons for you to give you a real idea. It's hard to tell unless you have it in person how big this knife is. It's kind of a chunker. It's kind of a big boy. So I'm going to throw some up here right next to it. And if you have one of these, that'll give you an idea of what the size is. So I'm going to put up some pairs for you. There's a Spyderco Tenacious and the Spyderco Para 3. See there, dwarfs the Para 3, and it's even, I thought the Tenacious was kind of a larger knife, but no, that's a big boy right there, and I'll put a couple up here that'll give you even a better idea. There's a Civivi Riffle and a CJRB Feldspar. A lot of you guys and gals have those two. Now we're getting closer, but you can see all kinds of handle for days, really comfortable ergos, and we'll go over that here in just a second. Here's the Kubey Ku322, KU322, and one of my favorites, the Kizer Roach. And these aren't small knives. So there you go. Look at that. What y'all look at it is I just bang them all around. And I'm going to put two more up here. Here's the Kizer Sheepdog, non-flipper, full size. So that's the full size Sheepdog. Look at that. Would y'all look at it? Just look at it. And the Ontario Rat number 1. So there you go. There's your size comparisons. So let me show you a little bit about the deployment and get these other knives out of the way. And as far as deployment, you have a couple options, 2 or 3, and you know, I gotta say that I like it, and then sometimes I'm like, I don't know, there's just something about it. I'm kind of torn one way or the other. It depends on my mood and what I want to carry. But you have a front flipper, which works really well. And then, you know, that point right there, and Lefty EDC, go check his channel out. He brought this up recently, and I agree, is that if you don't have your hand down here just a little bit when you go to deploy it, if you come up here on the top, on that tip, just the tip, it could be kind of sharp if your finger slides off of it. It's kind of a, ooh, mama. So make sure your finger's just below it when you do the old flipperooski. And then you can also do the, ooh, yeah, look at that. You got to watch your finger because when you go to shut this thing, it will shut. It is drop shutty for sure. Very drop. And here's another thing I will mention is it has a late break on the detent. So you have to get to this point right here before it'll shut. So that could be a good thing. That could not be a good thing depending on who you are. Did you see that there? Easy to reverse flick. I mean, all day long. And you can also thumb flick it very easily. That fuller right there grabs a hold of your skin, makes it so easy to flip it open. And for lefties, I'm not a lefty, and I can open it with my left hand. I can fidget with my left hand. Just one thing, if you're going to fidget, you have to make sure to get your fingers out of the way, because this sucker will come down and bite you. Now, I have heard a couple folks say that theirs had a light detent. It doesn't have the heaviest detent in the world, and I had heard that somebody had caught their finger on this, and it opened it accidentally, and it came down, and you know what happened. But I would say it's kind of a medium detent. It's not the strongest one in the world, but I'm able to flip it with my left hand, so I'm happy about that. And it's definitely an ambidextrous knife, and it's easy to use with your left hand, so that's a positive thing. Now let's check out the ergos. My hand from here to here is 4 inches, from here to here is 3.5, and from here to here is 7.25. So here's what it looks like in my hand. It's a thick boy. So let's open it up and take a look here. Look at this. I have plenty of handle, and you know, it kind of works out because it's hard to show. And this, see here, the part of the pocket clip that usually gets you, that usually gets in your way and kind of is a hot spot, is out of the way. So I don't have any hot spots. Can't feel the pocket clip at all, which is super nice. And the edges are chamfered barely, just barely. And I also, on the inside of here, I'm noticing it's not, I wouldn't say it's a hot spot, but you definitely, you know, when you're bearing down, you could feel right here, this edge. I don't know if you guys can see right there. It's kind of not chamfered enough. It's a little 90-degree-ish. So I would say it's less chamfered than anything because I noticed this edge and then these edges could be a little softer. I would appreciate it more if these were just a little more rounded off when you're really getting in it. But other than that, it's a really comfortable grip. You can do utility cutting. You just have to raise your hand just a little bit just to get the top part of this belly down on the surface, but it's not that bad, and it's a comfortable grip too. If you look at there, I mean, it's pretty neutral. It doesn't get much more neutral than that, and you're always good with a neutral grip, and it's comfortable however you want to hold it. If you're cutting open some bags and stuff, and it's very comfortable. So as far as ergos, I don't have any problems with the ergos, and then the deployment, you can fidget all day long. You know, I showed you the other deployment methods also. One of my favorites, just pinch it open, just pinch it open, just pinch it open. And then you can always pow, 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 right in the kisser. So overall, I like the knife. I like the ergos. I like the handle. If you're not into a beefier knife or a hefty knife, this might not be the one for you. Now, it weighs 5.5 ounces, has a little bit of weight to it. It takes up a little bit of pocket room. You know, I don't have anything else in my right pocket, so it doesn't bother me other than my Swiss Army knife, but it's down at the bottom of my pocket. So it doesn't bother me, and I like carrying bigger knives myself. But that's something to keep in mind. It is a big knife, and it takes up some pocket space. And you have to be careful, because I've heard of a couple people that this nail nick, you know, it'll open, and you got to be careful to not have a finger in the way, or it will come down. And this sucker is slicey. I mean, it is slicey. If you like knife content and you're still watching this and you're going to watch some more and see me take this apart, do me a favor, give me a like. Really appreciate the likes. Subscribe. You don't want to miss the giveaways that are coming. And also, I'm going to set up here to take this bad boy apart every Friday night, 8:15 to 11:15 Eastern Standard Time. Beez Blades live at the Hive. Yeah, you don't want to miss it. Well, there's a giveaway every Friday. We have so much freaking fun. It is so awesome. All right, so let's get in here and take this sucker apart. Okay, we are back. A couple notes. I recommend you get you a Weehaw bit set and some KPL knife pivot lube heavy, KPL knife pivot lube regular. And there's also ultralight. Ultralight is good. Some people prefer this. They like this for out the front knives, stuff like that, automatics. And then also you can get you some lock stick, some thread locker. I have links to all that stuff in the description if you're interested. But I definitely recommend getting you a nice set. Get you a nice set. Nothing like a nice set. And I'm going to get a T6 and a T8 because that's usually what you need. Usually. And I got this. I can't remember where I got it. One of the big online retailers. So this is a T8, and it looks like it's going to come out without argument, which is very nice. Get this bad boy out of here. And we'll see what it looks like. I doubt it's very dirty. I haven't done many dirty things with this knife. You can take that however you want. But yeah, I'm guessing, I'm pretty sure that this knife, you know, well, I'm not pretty sure, I'm absolutely sure that I know new versions of the Beluga came out, and they came out with some really nice looking micarta. Not your Carta, my Carta. I'm bad with dad jokes. I gotta watch it with the dad jokes. So, got that out of there, and you can see the pocket clip is just sitting inside here. I'm just gonna set that off of here. And oh yeah, it got a little bit of pocket grime, so you can see how well milled out it is. I'm going to put that puppy right there. And then this blade is sharp, so I'm going to be careful. Now, here's something to note. A lot of times, these caged ball bearings, and these look, yeah, they look ceramic. We'll check. But a lot of times, these ceramic bearings, this open side, if you look here, it's closed on this side. A lot of times, the open side is facing the blade. In this instance, they have the closed side facing the blade. So I want to remember, me personally, I try to put it back exactly how I found it. So you can see I've got some little bit of grit and grime in there, so the action is going to be really, really nice after we get it cleaned up. Get this pivot out of here, and this pivot is a D-shaped pivot, and actually I'm just going to leave it in there. There's no reason to take it out. It's really nice and clean. I'm going to leave that puppy right where it's at. Give me some alcohol. And sometimes, you know, I really don't know that I have a preference. Sometimes I use a little piece of t-shirt. Sometimes I use this, what do you call these things? The microfiber cloth, the microfiber. I don't know. I seem to be gravitating to it more lately. But I don't know. I don't know that I have a preference. One thing I do want to try are some of those Q-tips that are kind of pointy. They look like they're not real fibrous. I just don't like the Q-tip. You know, the cheaper Q-tips will leave fibers behind, and I'm not all about that. Don't want to leave. And before I forget, I'm going to go ahead and put a drop of KPL Heavy right here. Right there, and then just leave a little baby trail with the KPL Heavy for my detent. Sometimes I get to talking and put it back together and forget. I'm like, oh man. Gotta find the wet spot. I'll just let you think about whatever you want to think about when I said that. Clean this pivot out a little bit. Doesn't look too bad. You know, I mean, even if you don't get get in the dirt and the grime and stuff, just pocket lint will fill your knife up. For sure. For show. And as you can see, this thing is so easy to take apart. So easy to clean. Clean your little ball bearings. Oh yeah. Piece of cake. Now, let's see. The pivot, yeah. All right, so I'm going to let me make sure you guys can see here. I'm going to just get a little drop. And grab me one of these. That you can get these at KPL too, at KPL Knife Pivot Lube. I like to go like this, just a little bit. You don't have to do this. This is just a preference. I got a little bit of extra, so I'm going to go over here, put this on this side because I got way too much. I'm going to put some around the pivot. Make it all nice and slickery. Oh yeah, I got way too much in there. Just do a little dabbage. All right, so they had these facing, yes. I want to make sure I put it back right. Just gonna put a little droppy over here, and a little droppy over here, and then spread the love. Make sure I'm focused so you guys can see. There we go. I know I've done a couple of these where after the fact I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It wasn't focused. All right, so there's that. And then here's our stop pin. Definitely have to have your stop pin going on. That fits in there very nicely. So there we go. And you can see, just to show you how it works, the inner workings, there's when it opens, it hits that stop pin right here. And then when it shuts, pa-ting, hits that stop pin. All right, so let's put this guy on here. Just gonna put a little bit ski. Oh, that's the heavy. You know, some folks put the heavy on there and like the heavy. It's all personal preference. Do what you want. Do what you want to do. All right. It looks weird because usually, like almost all of the knives that I put back together, they have this open face towards the blade. And you know, I could always change it. I could always move it around. It could even make the knife smoother, but I think it works pretty well like it is. I don't have any complaints. So I'm going to open it up. And yeah, that's it. That's pretty simple. And you can see here where the D, nothing but the D shape lines up. And that's what keeps that pivot from spinning. And I always appreciate when that pivot does not spin. And are these guys going to pop in there? Yeah. Like a glove. Always have stuff laying out in the way. And is it that easy? Could it be? Is it plopsible? It is plopsible. Man, I'm telling you what, if you haven't been to a Beez Blades live stream, you definitely don't want to miss it. Friday nights, 8:15. And I'll get this back together, and then I'll give you a final thoughts. Couple things I think I probably forgot to mention, but I'm going to get this down in there. I don't have it totally tightened down. And you know what else is nice is this doesn't have a ton of screws. I'm not going to tighten these down. I'm just going to make sure that they're in there, not going to fall out. Make sure that they're lined up, make sure everything's lined up. And I tighten the pivot down all the way, then I'll mess with them. But yeah, so if you're thinking about getting one of these, or you did just get one, because I know a lot of folks just got it, you can see, don't be scared to take it apart and clean it if you want to. Now you can see that there's nothing scary or crazy on the inside there. So I'm just going to crank this down pretty tight and see how lined up it is just from the get-go. And man, look at that. That easy. That's my kind of knife. One that centers. Let's see how solid it is. Super solid. That's what I'm talking about. Makes for making a good, easy video too. Now I'm going to crank these down. I don't put blue Loctite on them. If this is your first time watching, the reason I didn't put blue Loctite on is because I check my screws all the time. If you don't check your screws all the time like I do, I'm a knife reviewer, it's just something I do. Then I suggest getting you some thread locker. Use medium. Don't use the red, or you won't be able to take it apart again very easily whatsoever. So get removable. I've recently got the Loctite stick that a lot of people use. You can use the Loctite stick. I've heard that sometimes if a pivot is loosening up on you, that the stick may not work as well And if you use Loctite, that means you have to set your knife aside and don't play with it for 24 hours. Let it do its job. So let's see how the action is. All right, so I can loosen her up a little bit. It's a little tight. Just a wee bit. Just a wee bit. So just when you are doing that, just give it a slight turn. Make sure you're still tight. I still have room to play. Give it a little slight turn. We're still solid. Wow, yeah, I had it cranked down. Had it crank-a-rooskied. Still, man, this knife is solid. Good action. Oh, yeah, we're shutting like a dream. Okay, let's go to the big screen, and I'll give you some final thoughts. All right, as I said before, it's a great fidget knife. Has a little bit of heft to it. It's definitely a tool. It does not feel like a toy. It is very solid. It is a solid knife. It is held up well. It does well in the pocket. You can fidget with it. It works well. My only little nitpicks would be careful. Don't get too high up on this right here. It will kind of hurt. So make sure you commit. As long as you commit, you're good. And this thing will drop shut. I'm telling you, it's a guillotine. It'll come right down. It'll come down on you. But other than that, you know, maybe a little bit of nitpicking on these edges right here, a little more chamfering right here, and maybe a little bit on these edges, just to make it just a tad softer. If those edges were softer, this thing, the handle would be a dream. But other than that, I don't really have any gripes. There's nice access to the lock bar. You can see there, it has really nice lockup. You guys have seen the inside of it. That's one of my favorite things is when a knife is easy to unlock. I don't want to have to dig my fingers in there. So that's another positive. Nothing but positives here, you know, just other than a couple of the nitpicky, gripey things. So let me know what you guys think. If you have one or you're getting one or you're thinking about it, or if you're not even interested in the knife, tell me what you had for breakfast. You know what's up. If you know, you know. So remember to live life in the present, keep a Band-Aid handy, and don't cut yourself.